Almost. Major. Holy fucking shit, this is major!
Oh, I did not even introduce the guy. I am losing it. Hello and welcome to another episode of this week's Almost Major, where we talk about the many major studios and the films they released. Today we're talking about A Slipping Down Life from 1999, but really from 2004. My name is Kevin Tudor. I'm here with Charlie Nash.
Hello.
And Bryden Doyle.
Hello.
And returning again is our super special guest from Spoiler Piece Theater. It is Megan Kearns. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. Thanks so much for having me yet again. I love being here.
Yeah.
We love having you.
Oh, absolutely. Our residential Skinamarink defender. Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Skinamarink rocks.
Hell yeah, it does. Like I'm saying, we were talking about A Slipping Down Life from 1999. This premiered at Sundance, January 1999, opened and limited on 5 theaters in May 14th, 2004. That is almost 5 years later, which we'll get into, and maxed out at 31 theaters. I could not find the budget on this. Opening weekend of $9,000, domestic gross of $95,000, and overall gross of $107,000. This would almost be a top 5 weekend where I've seen everything besides the 5th one, which just doesn't exist. Top 5 films this weekend was Troy, Van Helsing, Mean Girls, Man on Fire, and Breaking All the Rules, which is a Jamie Foxx rom-com that really doesn't make sense.
Seen the top 4. Yeah. I remember Breaking All the Rules. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Ebert likes that one.
Oh, of course. Van Helsing, I remember that was 5th grade, I believe, when I went to go see that when it came out. I thought it was like the coolest shit ever because I was in 5th grade. Number one song in the U.S. this week is Yeah by Usher featuring Lil Jon and Ludacris. And number one song in Canada this week, you'll never guess it, is Yeah by Usher featuring Lil Jon and Ludacris.
Is this around this? I was listening to a little bit of our Punisher app a little bit ago. Was that like, is this like around the same time that that movie was coming out too?
I was looking through and like the 5th week, it was the Punisher at like number 55 or something like that. Just the biggest drop ever. So yeah, it was around this time.
Because I remember we talked about this. Kill Bill Volume 2 came out the same weekend as The Punisher, which is insane. That The Punisher came out the same week as Kill Bill Volume 2.
2 great films, yeah.
And then Man on Fire and Mean Girls came out the same week after that? Am I
Just
getting
2
that?
Great films, yeah.
No, yeah. Like,
actual good films.
And what's insane is, now I'm probably going to get corrected, but I believe Man on Fire was number 1 and Mean Girls was number 2.
The previous week, Vamp, I will look.
Which I love both movies, but you think about the cultural impact Mean Girls has now. And it's like,
and does anybody really talk about Man on Fire?
I like Man on Fire a lot,
too,
but nobody
really talks about it.
No, that was a movie my dad wanted me to watch a bunch as a kid, and like my mom had to say no. It's like way too violent. Like you're too young to see this. And then eventually, when I was like 13, my mom was like, "Fine, you can watch it with your dad."
That's so fun.
Really violent.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. What's funny is that I was watching it in my basement, and I was allowed to, but my dad came down and was like, "What are you watching?" And then Denzel Washington just blew somebody's hand off with a shotgun, and he just went, "Oh!" and walked away.
Watched it with my dad. Both thought it kicked ass when it came out. Still kicks ass. But yeah, there's not a cultural footprint where people were just like, this reminds me of that time where Denzel Washington stuck C4 up a guy's ass in Man on Fire. Y'all remember that? You're just like, no.
It's funny. K. Austin Collins, I don't think, caught up with it until later because his Letterboxd review is like, he just stuck a bomb up this guy's ass in 2004?
Hell yeah. Yeah. Fucking rules.
I will say, in terms of the cultural footprint, I recently caught up with the Guy Ritchie movie Wrath of Man. I thought it was fine, but I read a review where there's like a line in Wrath of Man where like someone says like, we're gonna just like let Jason Statham kill all these people. It's like, well, let the painter paint or whatever. And someone said like, that's like the line in Man on Fire where it's like, Creasy's art is death. He's about to paint his masterpiece. And I was like,
yes,
I love it.
Okay, I've pulled up the numbers here from the numbers, and Man on Fire the first week, Mean Girls is not out, but it's Man on Fire 13 going on 30, Kill Bill Volume 2, The Punisher, and Home on the Range. One. But the next weekend, April 30th, 2004, is Mean Girls number 1, Man on Fire number 2, 13 going on 30, Godsend, and Laws of Attraction.
I got Mean Girls' release mixed up with 13 Going on 30 because I was allowed to see 13 Going on 30 and was not allowed to see Man on Fire in theaters. But I did go see 13 Going on 30. Also great. Also,
Yeah.
as much as I love Man on Fire, even more than 13 Going on 30, 13 Going on 30 maybe has more of a cultural impact.
Oh, totally
Yeah,
does.
totally.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I did see both of those in the theater, and it was a great experience for both.
Hell yeah.
It's also funny. I just rewatched In the Cut for the Jennifer Jason Leigh episode of the mixed reviews that I was on, and it is funny to me how hot Mark Ruffalo is in both of those movies, and those movies came out maybe 6 months apart, and he could not
Yes.
be more polar opposite. Like,
Oh yeah. He was like, for this movie, I'm going facial hair. Can you deal with that? And everybody's like, yeah, that's fine.
I'm also gonna say the most horrid, disgusting things, and you're still gonna want to fuck me, and Meg Ryan still wants to fuck me, even though she knows I'm terrible. And then 13 Going on 30, he's just the sweetest guy.
So
He's-
sweet.
Yeah.
Charlie, you got me a copy of In the Cut, and it is so good. I just have to say.
That is the most Charlie gift I've ever heard
I
of.
know, right?
I'm so happy that you love it, though.
I do. I mean, I love Jane Campion.
Happy
and I
birthday.
love Meg
Here's a
Ryan. I know,
copy of
right?
Margaret.
Here's In the Cut. Oh man, that would be great. That's a Charlie gift too.
I
But
also
yeah.
had I had my friend Jackie over to watch In the Cut because she has a
Oh,
huge Mark
Jackie.
Ruffalo crush. Yeah. Hi, Jackie.
Jackie.
She has a huge crush on Mark Ruffalo, but still had never seen it. And we might have
What?
gotten a little. Well, now she has, but we might have
Oh, okay,
gotten a
good.
little high. And like 10 minutes into that, she's like, "I knew this was gonna be hot, but like this is pornography."
You watch the uncut In the Cut.
We
Yeah.
did, where there's like a full-on blowjob in the first 10
Mhm.
minutes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
She was like, "Oh my god."
Charlie, how much longer? I don't think I can deal with this.
Oh no, she was into it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
The hell were we talking about? Oh yeah, Van Helsing. Check it out.
I had a poster of that in my room to this day. I asked my dad.
Nice.
I have
Nice.
not right now. When I was in 7th grade, and I remember asking my parents, "What was the worst movie you took me to as a kid?" Both of them said Pokemon, the first movie, because you kids understood it, and we had no idea what was going on, and it frightened us. And my dad took us to Van Helsing on a Friday night, and my dad was just like, "I don't have ears anymore because of that movie." So,
That movie is so bombastic. It
Yeah.
assaults the ears, definitely.
Who did
I
that?
understand.
Was that
the
the
Steven
Mummy guy?
Summers. Yeah.
Yeah, the Deep
Mummy
Rising
guy.
guy. Yeah.
Oh hell yeah! Deep
Yeah.
Rising kicks ass.
Still need to see that one.
Oh, it's so awesome. It's like if Anaconda was on the sea in a big yacht. It kicks ass. Plot description for Deep Rising. No, I'm kidding. Sleeping Down Life. Drumstrings Casey, which is just impossible to say, played by Guy Pearce, is an aspiring rock musician, though he hasn't had much success so far. Evie Decker, played by Lily Taylor, is likewise searching for direction and meaning. She works at an amusement park by day and at night bides her time alongside her troubled father. Between the two, Evie might be the more emotionally disturbed, as evidenced by how obsessed she becomes with Casey, going so far to carve his name across her forehead. And then there's another line, but that doesn't really happen until like 50 minutes in, so I'll just omit that. But who reads that and they're just like, "Oh, I'm on board. Let's go."
I mean,
guess
did
we
any
all
of you
were.
did any of you know that she was going to carve her name and the guy's name into her forehead? Because I didn't know that.
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
On the poster that they had, at least the one they have on Letterboxd, I saw like she had bangs and everything, and then when after she carved her the name into her forehead, I was like, I guess that's where the bangs come in. And then like of course later in the movie, like, she like covers her. It's like, there you go.
I think it was like a day before I watched it. I was just looking at like the 5 reviews that are on Letterboxd, and somebody mentioned that, and I was just like, "What? What's this gonna be?" Okay, and then I watched it, and I was like, "What? What the hell was that?" Yeah. Yeah. Based on the novel by Anne Tyler, which I believe was published in 1980,
70,
or 70,
think.
70. Yeah. I think of 80 because she. Oh, I'll get into
Because of
it in
80 for
trivia.
Brady? 80 for Brady?
That's
something?
exactly why. That's exactly why. How's that been doing at the Coolidge? Has that just been selling out every night?
Oh, yeah. No, we don't have that movie at the Coolidge. If we did, I will not deny that I probably, out of curiosity, would see it because I love all those actresses so much, despite my deep-seated hatred of Tom Brady. So.
I saw a commercial that was like not even advertising the movie. It was just the four of them being like, "It has laughs, it has friends. What more do you want?" And I was just like, "That's how we're advertising movies." Like, okay, it was just like, and it was like the true emotional journey, or based on a true emotional journey that showed that friendship. And I was just like, "Oh, it's a true story that these women got together and went to a game. Wow, I can't believe that. Wow."
I saw somebody recently post, "Can you just let Lily Tomlin be gay? Jesus!" Like,
Thank you.
yeah,
Go watch Grandma.
yeah. Grandma's good. Yeah,
It's so good. I love it.
and she was
Hell yeah.
also Lily Taylor's mom in Shortcuts, which I rewatched. Which perfect casting and relates to. Oh, Shortcuts is. I love that movie so much. It's so good. That yeah.
Just
great
to
movie.
just to be an asshole, Bryden, have you seen Magnolia? Just watch that. Just to be an ass.
Watch them
I
both.
know.
They're both great.
I know. I'm the sole person that doesn't like Shortcuts. I'm sorry. Adapted and directed by Toni Callum. I'm terrible with names. This is her only film, but she also wrote an episode of Sopranos in season 5. Primarily an actress, she also played Angie on The Sopranos for its whole run. She's in 15 Minutes in 2001 as, quote, Woman at Planet Hollywood, and she's in Sister Act 1992 and Private Benjamin in 1980. When I was making this, I was like, I have 15 minutes downloaded. Do I have 88 minutes downloaded? And I didn't, so I had to rectify that. So now I have 15 minutes, 88 minutes, and 16 blocks. Okay, I got all my numbered movies. And I found an interview with Callum from Film International in 2017, which talks about her being in development on a movie called Layover with Penelope Cruz, but nothing else has been reported since 2016 about the production of that movie. But starring Lily Taylor as Evie Decker. Prior to this, Dogfight in 1991, Shortcuts in 1993, The Addiction in 1995, I Shot Andy Warhol in 1996, and co-wrote and starred in Girls Town the same year. The same year as this was shown at Sundance, The Haunting. Just truly awful movie. After
why
this,
why are we bringing that up? That's
I had to. I don't know. After this, High Fidelity in 2000, 25 episodes in 6 Feet Under, which she received an Emmy nom for. Hell yeah. The Conjuring in 2013. Hell yeah. 2 episodes of Law & Order SVU in 2015.
I just want to say, when I was watching 6 Feet Under on DVD back in the aughts, my parents had already watched it, along with my aunt and uncle, and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm watching 6 Feet Under," and my uncle was always like, "Have you gotten to Lisa yet?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh, she's the worst," and I'm just like, "What? She's in a terrible situation." Like, Lily Taylor's so good, and she was put in like the worst situation out of all of them. Like, justice for Lisa on that show, because oh my god, nothing good happens with Lisa, and Lily Taylor knocks it out of the park in that show.
I remember.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I remember watching 6 Feet Under DVD to DVD from Netflix, and that's just what a time that was. Go ahead, Brad.
I was going to just bring up the other show that Taylor was on, was American Crime, which, Charlie, I know you've seen the second season of
Yes,
that.
I have seen the second season. She plays Connor Jessup's mom, and she's really good in that show. Yeah.
Yeah, that show's a tough sit, but it's really good.
It's a really tough sit, and I don't even know if it sticks the landing. The further that I've only seen, as you've said, I've only seen the second season. Don't know if I like the directions it goes down, but can't fault the actors because they're great. So
yeah.
Also very weird that Felicity Jones plays a principal, or Felicity Huffman, excuse me, Jesus Christ. Felicity Huffman plays a principal who's like, I don't know if we can take this scandal seriously. And then just like, you know about what happens in real life later. And it's like, oh, weird. Anyway.
Guy Pearce says, Drum Strings Casey. I will never not have to take 5 seconds to pronounce that. Prior to this, L.A. Confidential, 1997. He just plays the most Weasley little fuck in that movie. God, I hate him. Ravenous in 1999. I need to watch that. After this, Memento in 2000. The Time Machine in 2002, which we were all in theaters for. Mildred Pierce in 2011, which he won an Emmy for. And so also A Perfect Masterpiece, Prometheus in 2012. Also starring John Hawkes, Shawnee Smith, who is
wait. I just love that Megan had this reaction, this visceral reaction to Prometheus being a masterpiece. I know you can't see it, everyone listening, but Megan just had the funniest reaction to that.
I have no poker face, even though I do like poker. But
He also looks like Biff from Back to the Future Part 2 in that movie for some
Goddamn
reason.
right he does.
But
yeah,
That movie
he does.
kicks ass. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Sorry.
I own 3 copies of Prometheus. What, do people not like it? It's obviously a masterpiece, and nobody has anything else to say about it. I mean,
Can I just say I was with a bunch of friends and we all got really fucked up before we saw it in IMAX on opening night. We all walked out of it like, yeah, that was great. I have one question. And then everyone had a separate question and we were all like, wait, what?
Saw it in IMAX, and guess what? I thought that kicks ass. And you know what happened last time I watched it? That kicks ass. That's the best IMAX 3D that I had ever been to. I didn't see Avatar in theaters, but that shit was incredible. What are you saying, Brad?
No, it's just like the rebuttal people like make about the plot and like character decisions. It's like, well, why doesn't she just go left, run away from the ship? I'm like, yeah, but did you also see that bit where the alien just goes through the guy's suit and down his throat? That was pretty awesome. I'm just like,
yeah. They were like, what? Why are these people so dumb? It's just like, I don't know. Just because they're scientists doesn't mean they can't not be dumb. Like, leave them alone.
I will say though, when that movie came out, me and Megan, our friend Greg Vellante, basically said you can practically see the Roadrunner running past her and having Charlize Theron hold up a sign that says "uh-oh" before it crushes her.
Amazing.
and I can never not think about that.
I'm watching Prometheus on 4K tonight just to spite y'all. Also starring...
I like the movie. It's just a funny...
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's a great-looking, stupid movie.
Yeah.
Listen, I like the abortion scene. That's about it.
Yeah.
That scene kicks ass.
That
Just like
scene's
every scene in the
amazing.
movie.
Easily the best part of that movie. Yeah.
Hands
Now,
down.
beautiful dumb movie. I would say that's Alien Covenant, which I cannot fucking stand. Which a lot of people
Yeah,
a lot more people are like, kinda. It's actually better. And I was like, no,
Yeah.
get out of here.
Megan, I'm pretty sure we went to a screening of that, and then we went to a bar, and we were like, "What was that?" Like,
Yeah, that's right. That happened.
Yeah.
I wrote an article just about David, so I rewatched Prometheus, which was a fantastic time. And I was like, well, I guess I will watch Alien Covenant. I got through like 30 minutes. I was like, maybe I shouldn't do this article because I can't fucking do this. I did it, but it was fucking rough, dude. 2 Fassbenders, that's what we needed. Anyways, also starring John Hawkes.
They do kiss. Sorry, I'll shut up.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Shawnee Smith has just the most Shawnee Smith she's ever been. Bruno Kirby, Veronica Cartwright, speaking of Alien, and Clea Duvall, which she's in it for like maybe 8 seconds.
I know, such a waste.
I know.
You nearly expect her to come out of the scene and just be like, "I'm a nurse," and just walk away.
Trivia. Like I said, we were going to talk about why it took 5 years to come out. Lily Taylor told Hollywood.com in 2004 why it took so long to come out. She said because of a quote-unquote crazy producer who, quite simply, just not sound of mind. The producer took the film and tried to recut it to make it more appealing to distributors following a successful 1990 premiere at Sundance. The producer recut it, and Guy Pearce said, quote, "We are not going to support that, so there's been a stalemate for years until the bank eventually took the movie off of the producer because she hadn't paid them back." Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, regardless of what we think about this movie, to be in limbo for 5 years if you were involved in this thing,
that's
really
nuts.
sucks. That's awful.
Yeah. I like I was telling you, I thought the 2-year wait for The Weight of Water to come out was bad, but Jesus. Callum worked for almost 20 years on this film before it got made. Basically, the money she made acting went into keeping the option for this book in her hands. And lastly, Guy Pearce is actually a musician, so he performed all the songs in the movie. What's everybody's temperature on Guy Pearce? I cannot stand my man.
What?
Oh.
I think he's a really good actor. He's not. I don't think he's quite in my rankings of actors who, like, if he's in the movie, I need to see it. But like, he's pretty impressive most of the time. He often plays loathsome characters. That is like the thing that I think maybe I don't know if that's like what's held him back from attaining mega stardom. But like he works consistently, and yeah, no, I can't really think of many performances where he's bad off the top of my head. But.
You seen Iron Man 3?
Yes, I like that movie. He is not the part that I remember liking best in that.
Yeah.
You don't love when he breathes fire?
I mean, that's kind of cool, but like that's not performance.
Megan, what are your thoughts on Guy Pearce?
I like him too. I'm with you, Bryden. I think I completely agree actually. Like he's not necessarily a draw for me. Like if I see him, I'm not like, oh, I have to watch this movie right now. But yeah, he's really good. I like him in Memento. I like him in LA Confidential. I like him in Mayor of Easttown. There are tons of movies that I've seen him in. Hurt Locker, his little, his very small role. I think he's great. I always think he brings something interesting to the table, even if he's not maybe the most riveting actor. But yeah, no, I like him. I think he's solid.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's absolutely amazing in Memento, and I have fallen off the Nolan train as of late, but I do
Oh.
think I totally respect what he's doing in terms of making movies with big scopes and big ideas. I just don't think he's nearly as smart or as fun as he thinks he is these days. But I do think Memento, Guy Pearce does capture a human element that I've been missing from his later films. That I think Memento as a character piece, he's fantastic. I also wonder, did the time machine just kill any movie stardom? Because I feel like that was supposed to be his big I'm an action star thing, and then it flopped. And nobody really tried again? Like, I don't know.
Truly, like, because after that, there's the only movie until Hurt Locker that I've heard of is Factory Girl, which was an indie movie, and Traitor, which I'm pretty sure was also an indie movie. He had like leads, like there's this movie with him and Helena Bonham Carter called Till Human Voices Wake Us, which just doesn't exist. And then every other movie is like him starring. There's Death Defying Acts in 2007 with him and Catherine Zeta-Jones. But yeah, up until Hurt Locker, these are way under the radar. And everything before it was like everything amping him up, like Count of Monte Cristo, Memento, Rules of Engagement, stuff like that.
Except Count of Monte Cristo, he's the bad guy in that. I mean, that's an interesting thing of like even when it stars otherwise, he's still playing like kind of reprehensible characters, or at least not willing to broach that territory.
Did you also? I think Kevin O'Brien, you might know about this. I don't know if you heard about this, Megan, but did you see that on social media he was kind of bashing Cate Blanchett winning awards for Tar?
Oh yeah, it's so weird.
Where it's like they're both Australian, so it's like, wait, what's going on? Or I don't know if they're both Australian, but they both were in like the same theater school or something. So it was like, oh wow, this Guy Pearce doesn't get along with Cate Blanchett. Oh.
It was just like, Tar did not win Best Picture, and he was like, good. And you're like, sir.
Sir, this is a Wendy's.
yeah.
That would be funny rationale. It's like, why do you guys like each other? You're both Australian. Isn't that enough? Like,
Come on. He is in, I'm looking through here, and there's just, yeah, especially after Hurt Locker and like The Road and whatnot, or pretty much Prometheus, everything past Prometheus, well, in Iron Man 3. This isn't working. He's in a franchise. I wouldn't call him a franchise, but there's 2 movies called Jack Irish where he's the lead, and both of these movies 1000% just don't exist. Jack Irish, Black Tide, 2012. Jack Irish, Dead Point in 2014. My dad has probably seen both of these movies on Prime, so I'll probably ask him about that. But other than that, yeah.
Evie Decker's life wasn't what she had hoped for.
You're way too qualified to be a rabbit. It's not just a job, Violet. I felt this way at the Dairy Queen. Did you ever feel like it wouldn't matter if you lived or died?
So when she fell for a guy completely out of her league.
If I called your name wrong, would you still say yes?
You bet I would. I think it's a code. Sure. Why not?
She did what any girl would do.
Casey!
Tried to get his attention.
Are you okay? Someday the right people are going to hear your music and everything will change for you.
You think so, huh?
No one thought she had a chance with him. Until something happened they never saw coming.
I was thinking about how you are.
How am I?
Different.
he fell in love with her.
I like how I feel with you.
From acclaimed writer Ann Tyler
You have the prettiest eyes.
You don't have to say that.
comes a story about life's unexpected twists.
I've always wondered how people get to this part of taking off their clothes.
Come here.
And love is the biggest one of all. Lily Taylor, Guy Pearce. A Slipping Down Life.
Initial thoughts on A Slipping Down Life. Oh, and he was also in the Paul Rudd movie that doesn't exist called The Catcher Was a Spy, which is just top tier worst name ever.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that title is supposed to imply. What commentary is that supposed to provide?
Well, I did not see this movie. I think it was like originally slated for a TIFF premiere, and then it got pulled from the schedule at like the last minute. It was like, I think it's based on like a true story where like Paul Rudd was like in the movie he plays a guy who was like a baseball player, but then got recruited by the government to become like a spy in like the wartime or something like that. I haven't seen the movie. I've heard mediocre things, and Guy Pearce I think is like a supporting role.
Yeah, I heard about it on the mixed reviews, and one of them, I forget who, was just like, why is it called The Catcher Was a Spy other than it's a pun on the catcher in the rye? And they were just like, no, there's no reason. it's just, yeah. Initial thoughts. I want to hear what Megan has to say because I already know what Charlie and Bryden, what their star ratings are, but I know nothing of what you think, so I'm very curious.
Okay. So Lily Taylor is as we all know, I think I can safely say she's excellent. She's an excellent actor. She's great. I always enjoy seeing her. I really like that she exudes shyness very well, and especially here she does that. And there's really a fragility to the character of Evie, even when she's standing up for herself and asserting herself. Like it's clear it's very hard for her to do. And I think Lily Taylor does that expertly. And this film would be absolutely torturous without Lily Taylor because I think this film is abysmal. I think
Hell yeah, Megan.
Wow.
it's terrible. I think it is terribly written, terribly paced, just terrible. Everything is terrible except Lily Taylor, who is the lone beacon in this film, and she's great.
Hell yeah. Me and Megan linked up on Dr. T and the Women. We're doing it again.
Yeah.
Joined forces.
Wonder Teens, activate.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I pretty much I'd never heard of this. I don't think any of us had heard of this prior unless we just like went down Lily Taylor's list and we're just like, what this movie is. So
It's
being that
farther
it was-
down than the 6 Feet Under bonus features on her list.
That's
Oh,
rough.
man.
Yeah.
That's rough. But yeah, so I'd never heard of it. And I think when I was just going through the Lionsgate's movies, I'm like trying to get, unfortunately, there was not a lot written and directed by women. So I was just like, what has Lily Taylor? There's interesting. Why the hell did it take 5 years to come out? Written and directed by a woman. I would like to cover that. And also it just doesn't exist. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's not. And it's not. But the thing is, it's, I wonder. So I am assuming that this version is the version that premiered at Sundance and not the one that the producer fiddled with. But this thing is so tonally all over the goddamn place.
Oh my god, yeah.
It is like the first 5-10 minutes, it's like, okay, she's like a loner and she's caring for her father and stuff like that, and it's like feeling sad, and then there's like a 5-minute scene where the joke is that she's in an animal costume, and that's just hilarious. And then I mean, the big tonal shift is like when she carves the name into his head, and the score is like,
Yeah.
it sounds like the Arrested Development theme
Oh
song.
my
Like, I don't know what the hell is going on.
I don't know. Yeah. And it was initially ominous score because obviously.
It seems like she's gonna kill herself. Yeah, like there's some suicidal ideation hints earlier, like when she lets go of the wheel. So I'm like, oh my god, she's gonna try to harm herself. And then yes, the Arrested Development, like like score. Like what is happening?
Yeah, and then pretty much the same. But I mean, even as much as I love Lily Taylor and she's good in this, it's for a grand majority of it, you have to deal with her being good next to Guy Pearce mumbling for like the entire movie, and I can't take like his performances at first are kind of funny, but then they just start to get so obnoxiously bad. Where it's the thing of I don't know what tone this movie is trying to do, if some of the parts are meant to be funny or if they're not meant to be funny, because it's just all over the place and I don't know. So I'm gonna just take it at face value that it's trying to be completely serious, where it's just like, I don't know, I'm gonna like be involved with this woman who's obviously mentally unwell because of me and like go all over the place, and then at the end of it it's just like, what did we learn? Nothing. Okay, cool. Is Guy Pearce real at the end? Is he fake? I don't know. Who fucking cares?
The ending is
you.
baffling. Yeah.
It's like she doesn't see him. She sees him at the screen door, and then he's gone. And then she's in his car, and then we don't get a reveal that he's not actually there. And I'm pretty sure he's not. But I was just like, I don't fucking care. But yeah, just baffling, terrible, bad, very bad. Don't do it. And then the tone shifts is very evident in the first like 30 to 40 minutes, and then when it tries to settle down with both of the characters and whatnot, it starts to just be really melodramatic, and I was just like, well, I just don't like this because this is boring. So but Bryden, initial thoughts, what did you think?
Yeah, so I heard about this, I think, like you were saying, I was just looking through Lily Taylor's filmography, and was like, oh, what are some movies that, like, I can watch this? And I think there's a Letterboxd user, John Frankensteiner, who's, like, a big Lily Taylor fan, and he had, like, a whole list of underwatched 90s movies, and I just sort of, like, was sifting through a lot of them and being like, all right, well, this doesn't sound good, this doesn't sound good, this sounds good, I'll watch this. And, you know, a lot of them are, like, movies like this that are kind of hard to find. But like, I thought this was okay. It's not something that like it definitely like had me in like the first like, you know, chunk or so, and then I feel like by the end of it, it kind of it runs out of steam for me. Like Megan, you were saying, this would be insufferable if it weren't for Lily Taylor. I think she definitely holds the movie together, and I think she's the one, she navigates the tonal shifts better than the movie does. I think because she plays everything so sincerely, and I think because like some of the dialogue is so, you know, kind of outlandish and everything, like it is like I think like the way that she sort of takes some of this in stride, like, you know, when she's like asked about like, you know, like the backwards name carving and everything, it's like, well, it's like, well, you spelt it backwards, and she's just like, oh, and like there's the way it's like that's like laced with sadness, but also like just sort of dismay and everything. It's like she makes it funny, but also like a very relatable sort of human moment of human embarrassment. So I think that's like that, and then the way that like her character changes and everything. Like I was like thinking, is the movie just gonna be her being kind of a doormat for the whole thing? And like then she does like gain like she is a very different person by the way she even like walks into a room and everything. Like you can see that this person is like more confident and willing to take charge of herself, and that's like, and I think she conveys that very well through her performance. And there's like, I'd say like the stuff that's more interesting in the movie is the little sort of side interactions that she has with like local characters and her family and everything. Like I think even though it's like the way that the movie sort of wraps it up is like just kind of abrupt and doesn't really have the right emotional impact, I think the relationship that she has with her father, who is played by, what's the actor's name, Tom Bauer, like that stuff I think is actually like has like a really lived in sort of melancholy feel to it and everything, where like they don't really know how to like talk to each other directly and everything, but like the ways that in which they do express affection and care for each other are very sweet and everything. Like the way that like he asks, where like he sort of like lingers on like the porch and everything, and she's like, "Is there something you want to ask me?" Like, and then he's like, "No, nothing I can think of," and everything. And it's like, okay, well, you're not doing the right thing and asking what's wrong with what's going on with your kid and everything. But then like the way he sort of like goes in the house and then doubles back and like gives her one of the flowers and everything, and she really does seem to cherish it. It's like a really sweet moment. But then like the way that it's like, your father had a heart attack, sorry, he's died, and it's just sort of like they really just sort of like wrap it up very quickly in a way that like doesn't really have a whole lot of weight. And you know, but I will say for a first time director, Tony Kellum, you know, while she like I think is kind of messy, is quite messy with the tone, you know, with like the music used, I think there is some striking direction and everything. I think like all the concert scenes with like the lighting and everything, like very emotional, like colorful lighting and everything, where it's like the mix of like blue and red on like Guy Pearce and everything, sort of like showing like the mix of emotions that are like, that she sort of that Lily Taylor's projecting onto him as like she becomes like obsessed with him. I think like that stuff is all really good, but then I don't know. Yeah, like I guess the movie is smart about how like they are both kind of like both, and as she and Pierce become closer, they are seeing what they want to see in their relationship and everything. But I think if the movie is like aiming for, I mean, again, like who knows if the ending's real, which I think like it's stupid to have like it be like a sort of maybe he's there or maybe he's not. Like it's like what point does that serve? I don't think it's really a real point. But like if it's meant to be a happy ending, I don't buy it because like they don't really beyond like I don't really think that there's any real reason for them to be together and everything other than again like just seeing what they want to see and like the movie I don't and that's like an idea for a movie and everything, but I don't think the movie is quite on that wavelength. I feel like it's kind of wanting us to maybe see these people work out when it's like I don't know about that, and I don't know what the movie's exactly doing, and it does really kind of run out of momentum. I think as like sort of like I think the momentum I guess from the first like third or so is like or first 2/3 it's like her like sort of like the uncertainty of like well where is this relationship going to go, and then when they settle into domesticity it's just sort of like okay this is like a little roach.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna bring home the whole families and whatnot, and we're gonna have, and then one of the parents is gonna get drunk and try to beat up Guy Pearce, and
Oh my god.
yeah, I don't
Yeah,
care. So.
it's really like just not a lot of drive there, and like again, like I said, like it's the stuff that like the little side interactions that aren't tangent, that aren't like driving the plot. That's kind of like what sticks with me from the movie, and like the little jokes that are in like the conversations that they have. But like, yeah, I don't know. This is like a little too slight, I think, for me to have any impact, and like the lack of tonal control is kind of the thing that sinks it for me too. But yeah, so kind of a mixed recommendation. But I think there's definitely stuff I appreciated here. So yeah,
Charlie, you mentioned that her friend in it is the babysitter from The Ring, but I also know her as the girl in Can't Hardly Wait that Jennifer Love Hewitt walks up to and it's just like, "Hey, do you know where Ethan Embry is?" It's just like, "Oh, you should know. You sat behind him for 5 years, but why would you know anything about that?" And she just screams at everybody, "Sheep! You're all sheep!" So,
I have not seen Can't Hardly Wait. I wish I.
oh, it kicks ass.
Yeah.
there's some funny bits in that one. The bit with the kid drinking the beer for the first time and saying, "Nobody drink the beer. The beer is
The
gone.
beer has gone bad. Yeah.
That is a very relatable moment for me, someone who does not like alcohol. Yeah.
Tastes like beer to me. Yeah. God, I'm gonna watch Can't Hardly Wait tonight. Anyways, Charlie, initial thoughts.
So when we do certain movies like this on the podcast, this is what we're doing. I had never heard of this. But then I looked up the cast and was like, "Oh, what a great cast." And then I looked up, first time director, only film they made, woman director, kind of got buried by time. There is something about movies like this where like nobody I know, even all of us, had never heard of it. That then you look up, oh, it's got 26% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then there's a part of me, it happens when we cover very very small movies that you can't even find anymore. Where I'm like, this looks like a wounded duck of a movie, and I really want to be on board with it. You know what I mean? Like it happened with Weight of Water, where people say this is Catherine Bigelow's worst movie. I want to be there and I want to love it. Like I want to come up with something that I'm going to defend for it. And I had that same attitude going into this, especially because I love Lily Taylor so much, as we all do here, and everyone should. And I was never bored per se by this, but like all of you, I was very flummoxed by it because I was just like, I don't know. Like, I mean, we mentioned the weird score, especially when she carves Casey's name backwards into her head, and I'm part of me was like, what is this thing doing? And then I'm like, okay, well, it's from her perspective, and then we're gonna do all this stuff. Like, it's very much from her perspective. Like, we're gonna it's going somewhere, it has a direction, and then by the time you get to the end, it's like, it is, as we've all said, pretty it's ambiguous, but it's also like it feels almost unsure of itself, which I don't want to say that is what happened with the because I'm not the filmmaker, but it is that thing where I really wanted to champion this thing as an independent film that was in limbo for so long, and as someone who's a huge fan of the actors. And I do think there's interesting stuff here, especially with the fact that Lily Taylor consistently stands up for herself, consistently stands up to Guy Pearce as, someone, whenever he says something that is condescending or offensive, she's always turns it away. It turns it into, no, I made this choice. I wanted to do this. Like, like, you think I'm a groupie, but I'm just trying to take control of my life in this small town where nothing ever happens. And I found it very compelling in that this is certainly an oddball story. Um, at the same time, I did find it, like Bride and I very much agree with you, that Lily Taylor is more confident in the material than the director, because there are some weird aesthetic choices here where they play around with shutter speed, and I'm like, maybe they're gonna keep going with this or something. And they don't really. It keeps switching tones, not just in terms of like mood, but also in terms of the filmmaking. At one point, there's like a Spike Lee Dolly like shot where she goes to the
Oh my
bathroom,
god.
where I was
Yes.
like, "Whoa, what are we doing here?" And I think that's when she right before. Is that right before she carves Casey's name
Yeah,
into
because
her head?
she's following in like the girl who I think was like dancing on the stage, or that like was being shouted at by Guy Pearce, and then like they're like looking at the red stuff, and then she takes that bottle to slash her forehead. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
and
Yeah.
and ultimately, I think I sent this to you about an hour in, where I was like, guys, this movie's just, like, I don't know what to think of this, but it's interesting, but it's really bumming me out. It's just really, I felt really sad watching this, because
It's not a fun hang, no.
and a couple of days have passed, and I'm kind of like, why is this bumming me out? And I'm kind of like, oh, it's the same scene over and over again for like at least an hour and 20 minutes of her being like, I did this for myself. I wanted to be noticed. And then gets Guy Pearce's attention. Guy Pearce is like, thank you for all this publicity. And then he's like, I can't perform with that name staring back at me. And she's like, fine, fuck you. And then he's like, no, I'm sorry. And then she's like, all right. You want to get married? And not really.
Fucking.
No, it'll be worth it. Okay. Why don't you have bangs anymore? I don't feel bad about what I've done. I married you. You asked me to marry me. And then in the last 20 minutes, as you've said, Bryden, it's like they fucking there's this weird fake kidnapping that happens, and then her dad dies,
So
and then they
fucking
forget
weird.
about the
God.
fake kidnapping, and then he comes home and he has every reason to be mad, and then she's like, my father died, and it's like, what is happening? And then I was like, oh, yep, this is based on a book, because it's like it was like filler, and then like, oh crap, all the main events happened. We need to rush through all of that. And then I just kind of left being like, I see what this film is trying to do about two people who don't know what they're doing. They're coasting through life. They both have pursuits for some form of happiness, where he has artistic pursuit. She wants to get out of there and also wants to some sort of relationship. And I was compelled by the fact that she's like, I love this guy. I'm idolized by him. I'm going to do this. And then he's like, you're just a groupie. No, I'm not. Fuck you. Actually, no, I love you. Like, it's all this big complicated thing. And I did love every time I thought the movie was going to end up with her kind of sobbing and just being like, I don't know what to do. She's always like, well, fuck you, dude. You keep saying all these things, and I keep standing up for myself. And then, and I keep telling you off, and and he ends up knowing she's right, and he's like, oh god damn it, like whatever, like, and it's just kind of like, I love that she has a spine, and it kept making me think, oh god, I wish I was just watching Dogfight again, where she kind of plays a similar
Hell yeah.
character, but and has that same sense of like, I'm not gonna have anybody walk all over me, but at the same time, it's getting to a lot of things between those two characters where I just felt like Guy Pearce was just kind of like, he's not doing a bad job, but his character is such, it's just a light switch that's being flipped on and off at all times, and it's only for plot reasons. It's not really based on any interior life that we know about him, and she's supposed to be kind of an enigma. But and then I do love that whenever she's like, there are certain lines that I wrote down, like where she's like, he's like, oh, what are you gonna do with your, when you have my name on my forehead? And she's like, well, I'll tell them it's my name. it is my name. Like, where I'm just like, oh, you go, Lily Taylor, you know, you got him. And, you know, like, or when he's like, I think John Hawkes is the drummer. And when she's in the
Mm-hmm.
hospital, it's like, he's like, that's a great thing you did for us. And she's like, I did it for myself. So there were times where I was always being drawn back in. I'm like, yeah, like, you're not letting this just be like, oh, please love me. Like, she's clearly doing it for affection from them, but also never forgetting that she is doing this for herself. At the same time, I don't know what to make of this. It's just kind of a mess. Like, it's been a few days since I've watched this thing, and I'm still kind of like, I walked away being like, well, I definitely experienced this. It was not boring. It was it was confusing at times. What did it leave me feeling? Just kind of sad. Like I just felt really sad watching this movie. It was like this poor woman just doing all these things, and clearly has enough self-esteem to know that she's worthy of something other than what this town is providing for her. But I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for words with this thing. I don't really know what to take away.
Yeah, you're right that like there's this real imbalance with like how compelling like Lily Taylor and Guy Pearce's characters are like compared to each other. Like Taylor, like you do get a sense of like interiority with her character, like not just because like you spend so much time at her home and everything with her father and everything, but also like, you know, it's the performance and everything. Like it's not just like the one emotional sort of register that she's in. Whereas Guy Pearce, it's like it feels like I'd say like 90% of the movie he's just in that stage persona and everything, like where he's just like dodging questions and being like all kind of like mysterious and enigmatic. And it's like that's fine for like the first 30 minutes, but like it does get like kind of one like you don't really get a sense of like why she'd be drawn to him, like even in a domestic setting and everything, if he's just gonna be like this. I mean, I guess like you get it in like the most like cliched way. It's like where his dad's a drunk and he's abusive, and I guess like that's why he's like closed off. It's like, okay, like yeah, like I'm sure that happens and everything, and like, but like the movie doesn't really do anything beyond like just offering that kind of stock character. Also, it was weird because I recognized the drunk dad as the as one of the cops from Airheads, which was very funny. Yeah,
Airheads kept the lights on at Comedy Central for at least 5 years in the 90s.
And you do get this sense that like Guy Pearce's parents, like his dad was clearly abusive. There's some alcoholism involved, and I'm glad that the focus is on Lily Taylor, but it's not enough to fill in the gaps of like who is this? And part of me was intrigued at first because I'm like, she doesn't really love him. She loves the idea of him and getting away from this town and almost using his star persona to kind of get it. But at the same time, it's like, but she does also love, you know, like she wants to love him almost because it's better
Right.
than any type of reality that she's stuck in where she's a rabbit at a kiddie carnival or whatever. But
It's hilarious.
and I'm fine with it being a movie about being stagnant and trying to achieve your dreams and go someplace and then nothing happens. But it's like I don't know what this movie's trying to say other than this is just a really sad life, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah. What am
Some
I
might
supposed to
say it's
take away
slipping
from
down
it?
life.
Like,
Ooh.
Well,
wait,
nice
what did you say,
title.
Kevin?
I said some might say call it a slipping down life, but
Oh, brother.
but yeah, that's also funny because like, oh god,
well, the question I was gonna have was the sort of it is weird how like Taylor. It seems like the movie's gonna say something bold where she says to Guy Pearce, like, "Look, I can move into my father's house and that's where we'll live." And he says like, "You know, we're gonna die here if like we stay in this town and everything." But the movie is like, it's like almost being like, "Well, this like that's I can live a happy life in this town and everything." But then like the movie seems to have it be like where it's like again like she's taking the choice of driving away from the town, where so it's like I'm not really sure. I mean, look, I guess she's taking comfort in making. She keeps talking about making decisions for herself and everything, but like I don't know. It's depiction of small town life. Do you think this movie's condescending towards small town people? I mean, I don't know, but like
Yeah.
the Johnny
Yes.
Smith character, if like that's like
Yeah.
the most like sort of where it's like, look at this dumb person who's just shallow and only into Pierce for his looks or something, and like throwing herself. I don't know. It's weird, but anyways, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think it's definitely condescending to small town life. And, you know, I love everything that everyone is saying because, yeah, Lily Taylor's character as Evie is really, could be really great because, and there is such a sadness with her. Right in the beginning of the film, you know, she's saying to her friend Sarah Rue, she's like, "Do you ever feel like it wouldn't matter if you lived or died? You know, I could disappear and no one would notice." And so she really feels seen when she hears Guy Pearce's lyrics. And then when she sees him and she's attracted to him and attracted to what he's saying, she's like, oh my God, I'm seen. Somebody gets me. And, and that is really powerful. Crushes can be very powerful, but everything she's doing as an assertion of herself, these declarations, while Lily Taylor is selling them excellently, they feel very hollow. Like the fact that she's tattooing, essentially carving some dude's name into her head. Yes, it's kind of a reclamation of her bodily autonomy and she did it herself, but she's doing it for a dude's attention. And, like all these things, it's like, yes, you are asserting yourself. Yes, you are making those choices. That's bold. That's great. But yet it feels like they're written by someone who doesn't actually understand real autonomy or real self-worth or confidence. And so it's just very strange and combined with that weird, is he there, is he not there ending. Like I thought
Oh
it was
yeah.
going to end with her, right, like you were saying, Bryden, like, oh, she's going to be happy in the house that she grew up in, she's going to find that she doesn't need to leave to be happy, or maybe she does leave and then she's leaving, but why does she need to have Guy Pearce? And that relationship is so superfluous. It's such a toxic relationship and it's bringing nothing to the table, and Guy Pearce, who I normally like, is bringing nothing to the table with that role. It's just, it could be saying so many really interesting things about generational trauma or about addiction and how it impacts other people's relationships and toxicity in relationships, but the film's not doing any of that. And so, yeah, it just, every time it was starting to do something like, oh, maybe it's going to go here, or oh, this is kind of interesting, it just felt like, nope, it's doing something wildly different and not very effective,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I completely agree with you, Megan, because every time the movie was about to lose me, she'd say something that would bring me back in, and then it would kind of
Yeah.
go down the same route. Like, um, like at one point, because she has bangs for a while covering up his name on her forehead, and you're like, okay, so she's regretting this now, and blah blah blah. And then they marry, and he's like, why don't you wear bangs anymore? And she says something like, because I have no regrets for what I've done in my life. And it's like, okay, yeah, like now we're going down another interesting route now that they're married and stuff like that. And then it's just like more of the same. And it's like, at least in the first half hour, I'm like, this movie's going to have interesting, complicated feelings about what you just said, autonomy and doing this for attention, but also to, for either it's going to be about how infatuation sometimes makes us do impulsive decisions, or
Yeah.
or how she might be using him even, and it's kind of like, but doesn't really pick a lane in a way that felt coherent to me.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you
Exactly.
go. Yeah. Um, there's not much plot here, and I feel like we've already got the main gist of it. Is there anything else we want to get into before we get into final thoughts?
I will say I like, even though like some of the characters like as written are kind of like broad, I do think John Hawkes is fun in this as like
Oh,
this easy
Yeah.
drummer who's just like
love
constantly
John
trying to like
Hawkes.
go in for the
Hmm.
buck and everything. I mean, like the gesture that he does when he's asking like Lily Taylor like by the sunglasses stands, like, which do you like, top or bottom? And she's like, what? Good thing it's a dirty thing. Then he like does like the devil finger sign pointing to the two glasses. Which
Yeah.
ones? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, top or like, that's a really funny actorly choice, but yeah, it is like just like kind of a cardboard sort of like greedy music guy character. And it's also just funny like with like the very saturated lighting and everything when like they're performing at a gig. It's like John Hawkes is like completely in red and everything to make him look all the more ominous. I don't know. It's a very funny choice.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Also
Yeah,
the stuff.
speaking.
Oh,
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 I'm sorry,
oh, no,
Charlie.
no, you go ahead, Megan, please. Yeah.
I was gonna say, speaking, yeah, I love John Hawkes, so I'm so glad you mentioned him, Bryden. And also back to what you said about the relationship between Evie and her father, that is really good and really tender. They have a great rapport, and I wish we'd gotten more of that because I agree with you that that's really good. But yeah, John Hawkes is great. I always love him. He's an excellent actor. But I have to say, what a waste of a great supporting cast. What a waste
Yeah.
of Bruno Kirby, of Veronica Cartwright, of John Hawkes. Like, these are great actors in a variety of genres. And yeah, just not given really much to do, but it's
Veronica
unfortunate.
Cartwright in particular, there's a whole story with her character because she's
Yes.
clearly
Yep.
sad and not in a good marriage and is is married to someone who's abusive, and we don't really even get what's going on there. And the movie's not, she's not the focus, but at the same time, it's like, I want to know more about her, because the dad causes that whole scene, and like I get it. Obviously, that happens in real life, but like, she's giving so much more than this role demands, to the point where
Yeah.
again, like Lily Taylor, she's so good that you want to know more about her, and the movie's not exactly prioritized with her. And the dad, I also get it. He's off to the side of the movie because Lily Taylor is not focused on him. Like, that's the whole point. But by the time he dies, in the midst of that fake kidnapping, it just feels like such a, like, just the way it's executed, where it's like, your dad's in the hospital, your dad's dead, and then like, what?
Call him up. He's been kidnapped, but he's okay. But just call him and let him know. And it's just like, what?
And then why does and then they forget about Guy Pearce, and that's the weird thing where the movie gets really murky for me, is like, she's like, we don't understand what was going on with that whole fake kidnapping. It's also set on Christmas.
Kidnapping.
That's weird. And then she comes home, and obviously she suffered a major loss, but she's almost like, doesn't acknowledge, like, I'm not saying she should be focused on the fact that they did a fake kidnapping that went wrong, but he has every right to be mad. And then she's like, my father died, okay? And he's just like, I'm so sorry. But it's like, but are we gonna, can we at least understand what was going on before all that? Like, I don't know what this was about. I don't even, what were your motivations here? And again, going back to the supporting cast, I think Shawnee Smith is having a blast here, playing what is very much, kind of, as you said, kind of a condescending caricature. And I kind of waited for her to have a moment of vulnerability, or like something to prove what she's really like. And instead, she's just kind of like, her scenes all add up to like her tying herself up with a rope, being like, it all comes down to sex. And then like, I believe that Guy Pearce
She was
is like
tied
nothing.
to like the bed, the radiator, the bed. I have no idea what that was
but
about.
she clearly tied herself. I feel like the movie was implicating that she was just wanting to get laid, and like, Guy Pearce, I don't think the movie, I'm open to if any of you are disagree with me. I think the movie is saying nothing happened between them, but it's also like, what's her deal? Like there's got to be like, she's got to be more than just someone who gets drunk and goes to bars, because that's obviously like the behavior of someone who doesn't want to deal with their own reality of sadness in some way. And we didn't really get any of that. Maybe I shouldn't just say reality of sadness, but it's clear that that's her social butterfly life. And we get none of the, like, there's no moment for her to be a real person, I guess, as opposed to just what.
It's
like,
true.
Yeah.
Well, the film is also shaming her for her sexuality and being sexually
Mhm.
voracious, and so
like, Lily Taylor kind of shames her, but the movie, you're right, the movie does too. Like, yeah.
Oh, Shawnee Smith. I think this was this before or after she got put in the Jigsaw trap?
I was just thinking that would be so funny if Jigsaw was just like showing clips from this movie, like, you've not appreciated your life, and it's just all clips from this movie.
You were in a Slipping Down Life.
Yeah,
no, you were in the Blob. That kicked
yeah.
ass, but
Wait, this comes out in 2004.
He
That's
saved me. Yeah.
oh, it's the same year as Saw. Oh wow.
Well, no, 1999.
Not technically, yeah. Not
But
technically.
but then it came out the same year as Saw, and then it's funny that she became, because she was such a side character and in one of the most iconic moments of the first film, but then she becomes, without spoiling anything, more prominent player in the sequels.
That series
sure does.
sucks.
I got up to the fourth one,
I've
and then
seen all of them.
You see, by the time I got to the fourth one, I was just lost. I was like, I need a Saw family tree here, because some characters end up in the ending of the second one, some characters end up in the ending of the third one. I don't know. Donnie Wahlberg dies 3 times throughout that whole series, where I think in the second one, they're like, he's dead. And then the third one, like, he's still alive, but Shawnee Smith killed him in this one. And then the fourth one, he's just like barely cognizant, just like on a stool, being like, ugh. Like, wait, he's still, what? Anyway.
When we go down the Jigsaw timeline for our episode, it's going to be nuts. Let's see, how many are there? I think there's 9. Yeah, and I've seen all of them for some reason. Most of them I saw on cam rips on my iPod Classic in gym class. So, yeah.
That's a good way to spend your gym class.
I
approve.
I might have mentioned this, but the most guilty I've ever felt about getting a parent to bring us to an R-rated movie was I texted someone that I was in my English class in high school that I was barely friends with, but was always at the mall. And I texted them like, "We're trying to see Saw 2. Any chance your dad could take us?" And she was like, "Yeah." And then I brought like 11 other people. And the look on her and her dad's face was like, and like even some of my friends were having arguments with their parents in the food court, like asking if they can go. Like, well, Charlie could go. Why can't I go? Like that type of thing. And then like he just walked up and was like 13 tickets to Saw 2. Like, and everyone at the theater was like, we know what's going on here. So.
Saw 2, don't check it out. I don't know. I wonder how many, if any, sequels I'm going to watch when we do our episode. Maybe 2 and 3, because literally the third one is like, all right, that's the end. And then audiences were like, no, it's not. Bring back everybody who's dead. It's nuts. Well, now that we're talking about Saw, I think we should get into final thoughts. Anybody, final thoughts? Slipping Down Life. Semi-Charmed Life by Third Eye Blind. What do you got?
Semi-Charmed Life.
I just thought talking about this, I'd be like, maybe I'll have a more precise view on what I think of this movie, and now I'm even more confused.
Yep. Yeah. I'm more convinced, though, that Lily Taylor should have been the lead in more films.
Yes.
And because she's so often a supporting player in TV series and in films. And I definitely think she is a great lead. She can handle whatever material is thrown at her clearly with aplomb. And she's an incredibly nuanced and deft actor. So I would have loved to have seen her in more leading roles. I just wish I enjoyed the movie itself more.
Have you seen The Addiction, Megan? The
No.
Abel Ferrara
Check
film?
that out.
Oh,
all right.
So good in that. Also,
she plays a vampire, Megan. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm in. I'm in.
Have you, because we covered, the other reason I'm asking this is because we covered 24-Hour Woman, and I had not seen Dogfight when we covered that, but have you seen Dogfight, Megan?
I have not. It has been on my
That's
list
also
for so many
also
years.
Great. Yeah.
It's so good, and we all had weird, conflicting feelings about 24-Hour Woman. I couldn't believe Dogfight was directed by the same person, because it's like, it's incredible. It's so good. Yeah.
She's great in it. River Phoenix is great.
Yeah. He was such a great actor, but yeah. I need to see it.
She also has a great episode of WTF with Mark Maron, and she actually talks about
I gotta find
how both
Lily Taylor. Who are your guys?
she actually is very candid in talking about making Dogfight with River Phoenix, and how they were both struggling with alcoholism during the making of that film, and how she was like, it's a very it's very candid and very sad, where she's just like, you could tell he was just struggling so bad with booze on that movie. And I was also like she's also very candid about, this is the other thing that I guess I wish I brought this up before. It's not there she's constantly at bars. I don't think she was driven to do this by alcoholism, but I do know that Lily Taylor has been very open about how she was like, I was an alcoholic, and I realized it in my early 20s, and like have not had a drink since. And I wonder if this had anything to do with it. But again, she's not the one with the alcohol problem in this movie. So.
No, but I'm so glad you brought that up, Charlie, because I think that adds a lot of layers and complexity to her performance of Evie, that even though Evie is not someone struggling with addiction herself, there's a sadness there that Lily Taylor is bringing to the table from her own experience with addiction. So I love that you shared that. That would add so much more to it in her performance.
Now I'm just imagining Jigsaw on the WTF podcast. So what's that about? You like to play games? What's all that? Like, who are your guys growing up? Who'd you think? Fictional people on WTF would be just great.
Have Lydia Tarr
I like
on.
that idea. Lydia Tarr, yes!
We would know who her guys were, because, Bernstein,
What about Beethoven? Me as a U-Haul lesbian, I'm not so sure about Ludwig B.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Almost Major. Please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. Please follow the pod on Twitter at Almost Major to keep up to date with what movies we will be covering in the future. Myself, I can be found on Twitter and Letterboxd at KevBonesy. Bryden can be found on Twitter at Bryden Doyle and on Letterboxd at JDoyle. Charlie can be found on Twitter and Letterboxd at CTNash91. Once again, thank you for listening.